And we are live. How's it going, everybody? It's your guy Wardy here. That's my buddy Pat, who many of you guys know as a usually obnoxious Yankee fan. But today he's going to act nice because I got a lot to say and I got a lot of rants about, as the Mets were nothing short of absolutely lifeless in Game 1 of a 3-game set there in the Bronx against the Yankees, faltering by a final score of 6-2 that we just finished a watch party and live show for. So thank you guys to everybody that chimed in throughout the live stream. I greatly appreciate that everyone that watched in the playback app, as well as there live on YouTube itself with the scoreboard. I'm currently in New York right now, hanging out with my buddy Pat here, because we were really excited to do a watch party tonight. We're thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be a good battle between Judge, Soto, getting the offensive heroics. And while the Yankees had the bats going, the Mets had anything going. But, of course, when it mattered most with runners of scoring position. Another very frustrating night for this Mets offense without their red-hot Brett Baty. Why? Because Carlos Rodon's in the lineup, so naturally you can't put him in against a lefty. Just because of the fact that it's a lefty-lefty matchup should not be the end-all be-all. Why not even have Baty come in at any point in this ball game, yet we continue to stick with the Starling Martes of the world? I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to talk more about it. We're also going to talk about Tyler McGill, his third consecutive start, giving up 4 earned runs so far this season. And folks, that's bad, okay? Tyler McGill didn't even go past 3 innings for this Mets team in this latest outing. And while we kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit as to what to expect, it was still beyond frustrating to see it actually transpire. Pat is going to share the Yankee fan point of view a little bit for the few fans that care, but mostly it's just going to be more so on kind of breaking down our further reactions on the flows of this ball game. Most notably, what was going wrong for the Mets, and sadly, what was going right here for Pat and the New York Yankees. But again, thank you guys kindly for smashing a like and subscribe on as your first chime in. I greatly appreciate that. Again, not a fun night to be talking Mets baseball with each and every one of you on this Friday night. And it's a quick turnaround tomorrow, as we know, as the Mets have a day game tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for Game 2 of this series. So again, a lot of this is going to mean very little to nothing for a lot of you guys. So that's okay. The good news is that we can shake off this loss and head into tomorrow. But for Juan Soto's long-awaited, highly anticipated debut, I got to be honest with you guys, it was really, really frustrating to see Soto not get attacked. And then when he finally was attacked, he had to be the final out of the ball game. It was very fitting. Wouldn't you say that, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as
Do you want me to expand? Because I can.
Yeah, can you please expand for a second?
I mean, kind of just coming from my point of view, I think Wardy and I both came into this game thinking like, yo, we're going to get not so much animosity between the teams, but I thought we were going to see FU Juan Soto, right? I thought we were going to see Soto come in as locked in as he was during the 2024 playoffs. I thought this was going to be like his coming out party. And I just didn't see that from him. And granted, I haven't watched him at all this season. So from what I hear from Wardy, he hasn't necessarily been like that locked in Soto shuffle, whatever. But if there was any time for him to kind of like come out on the field and give the Mets that energy that they basically signed him for, today was the day. And I think you just didn't get it. I mean, kind of just coming from my point of view, bro, I'm right.
Relax. It's okay. It's okay. For those that don't know, Pat was having a heated back and forth with one specific individual in the live chat throughout the watch party. And that's exactly why he got animated the way that he did. But yeah, no, Juan Soto, listen, he didn't have too much opportunity today because he took his walks naturally. But again, it is frustrating to see him in a key spot like that with runners at second and third in the 9th inning. And granted, even a home run still would have had to be a 1-run ball game. So the Mets would have had to get more rallying done still with 2 outs. Much easier said than done. So I wasn't expecting a miracle, but I was hoping to see obviously a little bit more of an inspiring at-bat than what we saw there. I digress, folks. We got a lot to get into. So again, thank you kindly for smashing a like and subscribe as your first chime in. And Mets fans, I would love to hear your initial reactions to tonight's loss especially. And to all my Knicks fans out here, I would love to hear how you guys are feeling right now, because on one hand, you're conflicted, right? Because you got the Mets losing tonight and the Knicks on the cusp. Again, it's not official yet, but they have one more quarter to play, and they're up by a very sizable amount, but I'm going to not say anything beyond that because who knows? When it comes to NBA basketball and the 3-ball, anyone still has a chance at the end of the day. Well, the Knicks are in good position right now to get to the ECF, to battle it out against the Indiana Pacers for a second straight year, and I hope to, in fact, see that come to fruition as a Knicks fan. So if you guys bleed orange and blue the way that I do, sadly, you did not see both your teams prevail tonight, but hopefully we see at least one of the two at bare minimum. We're getting close to that point, guys, but let's get into this one because there was frustration, and we're going to come back to this, but I just want to reiterate this once more, everybody, so you guys don't lose sight of it. Yes, it was very, very frustrating to see the pitching staff today headlined by Tyler McGill. And this is nothing personal against Tyler, just the reality of the situation today. But for McGill, 2.2 innings that we're going to see 4 hit, 4 earned run, 5 walk, 4 strikeout ball for a 3.74 ERA on the season. We're going to circle back to Tyler McGill and what went so wrong for him in today's outing. But in simple terms, this was obviously discouraging. And facing a Yankee lineup, obviously, that can be lethal. Didn't even kill McGill in the Mets today with the long ball. I think that's what has me most frustrated as a Mets fan from my initial takeaway from tonight's loss, is most notably on the fact that the Yankees didn't even beat us with the game that they're notorious for. They lead all Major League Baseball in home runs with over 70 this season. The Mets have 55 or so around there so far this year. So not that there's a lack of effort there, but the Yankees have been led through and through with the home run ball, and they did not even need that tonight whatsoever to truly prevail the way that they certainly did here against this Mets team. It was a lot of walks, a lot of piss-poor command by Tyler. Again, nothing personal against him. He just did not have it tonight, and we're going to get into what was not working well at all with that fastball that went from him at one point feeling so comfortable to say, you know what, I'm just going to go strike out Aaron Judge, 97 gas without a problem, so then working around the zone against Oswald Peraza and everyone else in the bottom of the order. Make it make sense. We'll get into all this stuff right now, everybody. But again, thank you kindly for chiming in. We appreciate you. Irv Wallace, my man. What's good, my bro? Good to see you. I might need to reevaluate McGill and Marte's options on the consistent basis. I know we're going to talk more about that in just a second, everybody. We're also going to get more into what you guys see here from the New York Mets line. Because listen, when you look at the Mets numbers today, they were out hit by the Yankees 8-5. But top to bottom in the Mets lineup, they only had one key contributor who had multiple hits. And that one contributor was a guy that I actually said would be fairly notable heading in this matchup, and that was Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo was the lone guy trying to provide offense for the Mets for the most part in said matchup tonight, and he was also the only guy to have multiple hits. So Brandon Nimmo, I appreciate that. He was batting fifth today in the order behind Mark Vientos at third base, going to left field, and then Starling Marte at DH, and Marte was no bueno, to say the least. We're going to get into all that, everybody, and what I certainly didn't like about it, but what sticks out like a sore thumb yet again for a Mets team that entered this ball game tonight, folks, with a runner in scoring position batting average as a bottom feeder in all the National League. They did themselves anything but a favor from tonight's outcome as they went 2 for 11 with 9 left on base. Yes, you heard that correctly. 9 left on base. So without further ado, everybody, let's speed run this and let's get into what happened in this beyond frustrating game 1 between the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. Now, as we hop back here, hope you guys like the setup too. Apologies for the no highlights today, but it's kind of fitting, Pat. I was saying pregame how I was kind of worried about getting highlights set up today while we were doing the watch party, but I got nothing to show. I mean, it would just be a Yes Network highlight reel. We don't need that. No, not gonna do that. I'm already sad enough, and I gotta have a loan. I gotta have that loan. That sad drive home when you're listening to just like Marvin's Room the whole time. That's kind of the vibe that I'm at right now.
Drake.
I don't like Drake, but that's how down I am. You see my point?
Cups of the rose.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Guys.
When is it time to talk about the Yankees Day?
Ew.
Because the Yankees had a good day.
We're going to talk about the Yankees Day, but can we talk more about what went wrong with the Mets? So we talk about the Yankees?
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it, considering that 99% of the people here are here for the Mets. You know how it is, everybody. 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Morty, I've been complaining for the last few years on your show about the poor hitting with runners on. I know you have GSU, and I've been complaining too. That's a commonality that we've had, and yet it's prevailed here. But, Pat, before I break down this ball game, give me a quick 30 to 60 seconds as to your initial reaction from a Yankee fan point of view as someone who is more known for being in highlight clips of reacting to Juan Soto leaving the Yankees for the Mets, to now seeing Juan Soto be the final out of the first game between the two teams.
I think I'll describe it in one word, and the perfect word: poetic. I think if a Yankee fan drew this game up in their mind, the only other thing that would make it more perfect is Judge going yard. But I think fair. If you ask any Yankee fan what they want to see today, they wanted to see Soto make the final out in a game that wasn't that stressful. A Yankees win. Granted, though, series is far from over, but just the fact that this is our first win against the Mets since 23 is insane.
That is actually insane. Since 23? Yeah, because we swept you guys last year.
Yeah.
And Was the last one against us in the final game against us in 2023, or was it earlier?
I don't remember.
All right, well, regardless, let's talk about this ball game now, as much as it pains me to do so, everybody. Strap in, buckle up, and get ready for the ride. And what went wrong here in Mets land, here between the Mets and the Yankees? Hit that like and subscribe button on your way, and let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below and the live chat. And shout out to today's sponsors at SeatGeek and BetUS, but more on them, especially BetUS, a little bit later in the show. Beginning here in the first inning, everybody, we had Tyler, Miguel, Tony the Rubber, and I apologize, folks, because starting the game here was not going to be Tyler McGill, but rather it was going to be Mr. Carlos Rodon with the Mets batting first on the road here. We would see Francisco Lindor ground out. Juan Soto gets on with a walk, colored me shocked. That was a commonality that we saw throughout the entirety of this ball game. Soto then promptly stole second base for his 4th stolen bag of the year, and Juan doesn't have the speed, but he just had Carlos Rodon fooled. By the time Rodon picked up on him and realized what was happening, it was already over halfway to second base, so that was about that. Afterwards, Pete Alonso with a line out, and Vientos grounds out, and that does it for the first. At the bottom of the first, Trent Grisham gets on with a leadoff walk. Grisham has been fantastic for the Yankees this year, and I did a video about him a couple days ago on the Wardy MLB platform. For any of you guys that have interest, please make sure to check it out. KCB with the $5 haul. Thank you so much for that, Casey. Casey says, McGill in the 3rd inning, after the error looked defeated, walked around the mound, fiddled with the ball, zero confidence, Soto no energy. It's an issue. I agree. You want to know what was the most underwhelming aspect, and both Pat and I can agree and attest to this heading into tonight's ball game, is that while yes, there was energy at the ballpark, yes, you had the Boo Birds, yes, you had the F. Juan Sotos, yes, you even had the F. Juan Soto t-shirts, which I gotta give credit where credit's due. If you're really gonna be a hater, you might as well make some dollars out of it, right? So
yeah, Kendrick Lamar's made a career out of it.
I mean, I even made t-shirts in the past about Kenley Jansen when he was cheeks for the Atlanta Braves. So we lean into that.
T-shirt of that.
Yeah, a couple years ago when he was bad, it was a play on Kenley Jansen being like a dumpster fire of a closer.
Kind of corny.
It was corny, but hey, it works. Corny sells sometimes. I digress. What we were getting back to, everybody, is the fact that the aura, the energy, if you will, in this ball game was non-existent. It was there from the Yankee point of view, for sure, but in the balance and hoping that there was going to be some type of divide, there was none of that. And furthermore, to have Juan Soto go out and tip his cap to the Yankee fans the way that he did, and to really just kind of revel in the fact that he doesn't give a flying what you say, do, look at him, he's going to go act as he always will. That was very anticlimactic, wouldn't you say?
It was disappointing. I think because, like I said before, like, we know Soto, he's a gamer, he's a dog. Right. He just didn't show that tonight. I don't know, just weird.
It is weird, especially when you had all the anticipation heading into tonight's matchup. Obviously, this is media-backed. I think that's a greater part of it, when you have...
No, but bro, even when Soto said, what was it, yesterday? He's like, yeah, it's going to be 50,000 versus 1. Like, if you're going into the game with that mentality, like, he didn't go into that game like he was taking on 50,000 people himself.
Right, like he was looking like the scene from Game of Thrones where it's like all those guys running. There's that one guy that pulls out the sword. Yeah. That's not what happened. It was far from it. And you have to think that maybe to a degree things died down before the game started because, he probably chopped it up with some of his former teammates on the Yankees. Him and Carlos Rodon were kind of chopping it up as he was getting his walk. So,
but also, maybe it's on us, bro. Maybe it's on us for painting a picture and having expectations that weren't realistic.
For sure. And I think that was kind of part of the reality of the situation here. I was hoping that we were going to kind of see this thing get resurrected, and I think we will. I do think we will reach a point where whether it starts tomorrow, whether it starts Sunday night, or maybe it doesn't happen until the 4th of July series, I think we will reach a point at this year where we have that true textbook storyline of, oh my God, Juan Soto's locked in, and he's about to go absolute possessed on the New York Yankees, and Aaron Judge is locked the hell in, and it's a true toe-to-toe. Not that they're villains, but rather the fact that you have a really good storyline that could build around for getting greater eyes in New York baseball.
Just coming from my perspective, somebody who watched Soto on a daily basis, night in, night out last night, it doesn't look like the same guy. It simply doesn't.
No, I know.
I guess, attitude-wise, just, the way he presents himself, maybe it's a confidence thing.
I think it's a confidence and a pressure thing. Because remember, he was playing with House Money last year because it was his walk year, but he knew that he was going to get a bag. He was very confident.
He also didn't have to be that guy.
Exactly. Whereas the Mets, he doesn't need to be the guy, but when you get the largest contract in North American sports history, there's an expectation that you're supposed to still be the guy. Yep. And that's something that he hasn't had because even when he was with the Padres, Nando, Manny, Xander, it wasn't the same,
In Washington,
so.
He was that guy.
But that was like to start his career. He has that swagger. He has that it factor. That's why he's a generational talent. He's going to be in the Hall. You know, he's just that good. So getting on to it, everybody, let's break down more about this ball game, because we would see after Trent Grisham gets on with a leadoff walk there in the first, Cody Bellinger gets on with a single. Then Jason Dominguez is called out on strikes, and that does it. We get to the second. Mets go down in order, and they are struck out back-to-back in Nimmo and Marte, and Francisco Alvarez is line out. Shout out to the umpire as well for being a flaming piece of shit today. Absolutely horrendous. Tyler McGill got so unbelievably effed on a call to begin this ball game in that first inning, I believe, there. Clear strike call, and you can't deny it. It was like not middle, but like say let's outline the strike zone right here. Let's give you your square. It's right here. Like
Okay,
that was a really clear as day.
Let me say though, nothing bothers me more than when people complain about the strike zone. Like
Fuck off,
bro. No. It's so infuriating because it's like
when people
it comes across as an excuse. Like, bro, oh my God.
So I'm wrong for complaining at the umpire who's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do his job but do it poorly?
Bro,
what when it can factor? No.
Human error.
But I don't care. I don't care about the human error when you have an ABS system that's coming in next year.
I know, but bro, that's not what we have right now. We have humans,
and they're horrendous, and they're further
Sometimes they are, yeah.
and they're further validating the reason as to why.
It's just like,
but it's impossible not to though when it impacts your game.
You wouldn't
it's really hard not.
That's one.
I would bring it up. No, that's a lie. My viewers know this. I call out the ump regardless, and if he favors or goes against the Mets, I will say the umpire is dog. You know what? But he was on the Mets side tonight, so I'm not complaining about it.
Umpire for both teams.
I understand that, but just because he's the same umpire for both teams doesn't mean that there's a consistency in calls for both teams.
Okay, Eric makes a great point because this is something I bring up all the time. The box that they show on TV is not the objective strike zone. Every umpire has their own strike zone that they create in their head. There is no set box. What they show you on TV is the broadcast perspective of what the strike zone
there
be.
still is the natural box that every batter
But there
has.
is
It
no
does
objective strike zone.
it does vary in the sense of
Yes.
how big your batter is.
So what they show you on screen isn't always a ball or a strike in
Right.
the umpire's eyes.
I understand that, and that's where the inconsistencies go in hand. I'm not saying umpires are supposed to be perfect, but I'm saying when you have calls so unbelievably blatant, guys, like, again, I can make excuses and benefit the doubts for guys all day long, but what I can't do is when I see dog shit calls like this, I'm sorry, it grinds my gears. It really bothers me, and I will always call them out. It doesn't mean anything's going to immediately change. I know it's not going to. But I don't think that we should also condone this as okay when you will see on the scorecards, and I don't know if you follow along with this, on X, there's an account.
I know.
You into the grade. But you see how the umpire report card breaks down, and you will see teams get a full run or 2+ run advantage. That didn't happen tonight, but I'm saying that's the risk that goes in hand when they are as inconsistent as they are. So that's why I call them out. But I've had it, though. I think the difference is that you're first seeing me call this out, but I do this like every game that there's nonsense.
So what do you think the solution is? Robots?
The solution is going to be the balance of having the ABS blatantly wrong calls and the batter too picks up on it. You know, because it's
okay. But realistically, how many pitches were there tonight where you were like, oh my God, that's an awful call?
There were 4 calls that pissed me off, and on awful range there were 2.
Okay, how many pitches were there in total in the game?
A lot of pitches, over 200 pitches.
If you want to break it down, probably that's less than 1%.
I understand.
That's a great job by the umpire.
I understand that. I'm saying that he didn't do anything too egregious to that point, but it's the magnitude of how egregious it was. Like, it's different when you have an umpire in today's MLB, and you guys can attest to this, everyone watching live in a replay, let me hear this, is when you have the strike zone the way that is, it has been manipulated over the years with umpires in the sense that we were at a point before where things used to be very tight, depending on the type of umpire that you had, whereas others are very loose, where you're going to have a slider a full ball out of the zone that they're going to constantly call all game long there to certain left or right-handed batters. And you have to adjust then, especially if an umpire is consistent. If you're not going to have a good strike zone, be consistent at least with it. And I don't get upset when an umpire has an expanded strike zone that we know from the start of the ball game and it doesn't deviate. If you're going to have these F-ups, all I ask is that I prefer that you kind of be more consistent about it, so that way it doesn't just hurt my team, but it also hurts the other team fairly equally.
Okay, this is the last
That's
thing
getting
I'll
on a
say.
tangent, though.
This is the last thing I'll say on it. I think also when kind of like criticizing balls and strikes, what has to be taken into account too is what they show you on TV.
GSU, I'm not making an excuse for McGill. I literally have been saying how bad of a start he's had. We're breaking it down.
What they don't show you on TV is the framing by the catcher, which obviously impacts the umpire's perspective of the pitch. Austin Wells, great framer. So while it might show the strike zone ends here on the bottom and the pitch is here.
Alvarez and Torrens are the same way. Yeah, I understand. You can steal strikes
it's
for sure.
subjective.
It is subjective. I mean, yes. But simply put, once the ABS gets in, I'm looking forward to that, like what we see in spring. So that way,
what happens to pitch framing?
Pitch framing will still be important, but you're just holding umpires accountable now. This is not going to be showing you every single pitch. It's for the ones that you also challenge. You know what I mean? Like it's different. If it's
so you don't want it for every pitch, you just want it for challenges.
At minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, and then go from there. I think that's fair. But all right, guys. No, GSU, I'm not. For fuck's sake. You can't just say yes, Wardy, when I just said no. You guys kill me.
Okay.
All right, guys. As we continue on, the bottom is second. Tyler McGill does have himself a 1-2-3 inning, including back-to-back strikeouts on Austin Wells and Oswald Peraza. As we head to the top of the third, the Mets go down in order between Acuna, Taylor, and Lindor. Lifeless offense early on in this matchup. To begin the bottom of the third, Vivas had himself a single there to lead off the inning against Tyler McGill. And I apologize because Tyler McGill is already out. Or, pardon me, no, he's about to be out at this point, right? Yeah, he's about to be out because then Trent Grisham grounds out. And with one out, we see Aaron Judge get on with a walk. So 2 on, 1 out for Cody Bellinger. Bellinger then rips a soft ground ball that Mark Vientos we talked about didn't get into too quick. He was playing a little deep there at third and just could not make the throw in time for Cody Bellinger bolting down the line, and that causes bases loaded. Then Paul Goldschmidt steps up and he takes advantage. He rips a single there that we saw that, again, very unfortunate play that we saw as Francisco Lindor initially made a fantastic web turn and gem. Afterwards, we saw not only him make the turn and throw, but then we see it becomes an error as Mr. Pete Alonso cannot get the scoop. The error goes to Francisco Lindor. Lindor has yet another error this past week, which is insane, and it does, in fact, lead to another run scoring because it hits off of Alonso's glove, goes into the shallow right field, and that allows the second runner, that being in Vivas, or pardon me, Cody Bellinger, who scored? Aaron Judge was the second to score in that circumstance. So Paul Goldschmidt makes it 2-0, New York Yankees. Jason Dominguez, the Martian, gets on with a walk, and Anthony Volpe then has a sac fly that was an underwhelming throw by Juan Soto in right field, if I'm being honest. I know he was fairly deep in right, but I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more mustard on that, maybe a 2-hop instead of a 3-hop. I digress. I'm just being nitpicky because we didn't play well tonight. 3-0, New York Yankees. Austin Wells then gets on with a walk here, and Oswald Peraza then gets on with a walk. You get a walk. You get a walk. You get a walk. We're just giving away walks like they're candy tonight. And then Tyler McGill exits the day for Max Kranick, who gets a quick pop out on Vivas because no panic. Kranick gets the job done yet again.
Can I speak on that?
Yeah.
Coming from a Yankees fan perspective, I know you guys want to hear this. This was actually, as much of it as it was a bad inning for McGill, I view it as a great inning for the Yankees hitters. Also, like, Mets fans, take into account, like, obviously McGill didn't have a great day, and apparently he hasn't had a great couple starts. But he's going up against the #1 ranked offense in Major League Baseball. And I think what we saw was the Yankees just approaching these at-bats with very great plate discipline. And also, like, a Yankees team that scored tonight without any home runs, which is awesome. Because I feel like it's a team I watch on a daily basis that needs the home run to score, and they didn't need to do that tonight. So it was very, very nice.
You know what's also very, very nice?
The Knicks winning.
For the first time since 2000, the New York Knicks are heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's awesome. Give me some. I'm absolutely amped. At least one of my teams won tonight. I will be very happy with that. Oh, my God. I can't wait to watch the highlights again because they dominated so early in this one. It was over before it even started. It felt like this is so exciting, though. Facing the Pacers, and the big difference is, for those Knicks fans that remember, the Knicks had like 4 or 5 plus of their starters injured last year when they had to face the Pacers in playoffs last year after they kicked out the Sixers. Because I was in Philly, and I was there when the Sixers got eliminated by the Knicks. And then, bam, no one's healthy against the Pacers, and that's about it, folks. That's all it. So, as we continue on, everybody, sadly, the New York Yankees are up 4-0 that we would see because Tyler McGill, again, just gets absolutely rocked in this one. McGill's final line, as we mentioned earlier. Zach, thank you for the donation, and I agree he needs to play Beatty. He will play him tomorrow, I promise you, because Clark Schmidt's on the mound. That's a guarantee to happen. Beatty will be at third or DH. Third DH or second base, one of the three tomorrow. But on the pitching end, everybody, you see it with me. It is as follows. Tyler McGill's final line is 2.2 innings, a 4 earned run, 5 walk, 4 strikeout ball, now up to a 3.74 ERA in the season, which isn't horrendous on the forefront, but for a guy that's now given up 4 earned runs on 3 consecutive starts and has been worse in each of the 3 last starts, it's discouraging. And you want to know what the big problem that we have, everybody, on the Tyler McGill front? I'm going to tell you right here, right now, because there is a very easy way to show you guys what was going so wrong here for Tyler McGill. The arsenal for Tyler McGill today, everybody. Forcing fastball 32% of the time. Topped out 97, sat right around 96. The velo was there, but McGill, after the first couple innings, had nothing on fastballs up. He could not locate his fastball up at all, and that would be his demise. He went from having a really confident, easy strikeout down the pipe there that we saw on, I know you don't, you have to come back in for a second. He had a very easy strikeout on Aaron Judge, and then that was like the last confident at bat I felt like we saw, you know, McGill challenging a hitter the way that he did. And then he's giving up endless walks to the bottom of the order there for the New York Yankees. And that slider at 29% was sitting right around 85. But between that, the sinker, again, he just missed so much of the off-speed and breaking pitches down below the zone. It was absurd. Sinker sat right around 94. Curveball, 11% sat right around 80. And the changeup sat right around 89. A very uninspiring start for Tyler McGill today, which I'm not happy to say. Just the unfortunate reality of the circumstance. Pat, what was your biggest takeaway from Tyler McGill not even giving the Mets 3 innings today?
He pitched like garbage. And like I said, I think it also comes from facing the #1 offense in Major League Baseball.
I think it has a bit to do with that. You know what I think? I think the Yankees scared him straight tonight. That's what I think.
Possible.
I really think it is. I think this lineup was so deep, and I think that it was something that he was intimidated by to a degree in this matchup. And as soon as he lost the confidence and the command with his fastball, especially up, it was quickly his demise in this one. Douglas, great member of 7 months. At least Yanks and Mets fans can enjoy the Knicks. That is true. That is very true. That can bring us together without question. Now, as we continue on, everybody, let's break down more about this, for me, a godforsaken ball game, but for Pat, an electric one. As we get to the top of the 4th, everybody, Juan Soto gets on with yet again a walk. Mark Vientos rips a single that we see to center. Brandon Nimmo then drives in the first Mets run of the day to make it a 3-run deficit at the time, as Nimmo drives in Mr. Juan Soto, and it's 4-1 New York Yankees. Afterwards, Starling Marte grounds into a force out. Alvarez gets on with a walk. So Mets have bases loaded for Luis Angel Acuna, who very unfortunately flies out to end the inning there that he flew out to right field, Mr. Aaron Judge. In the bottom of the 4th, everybody, Aaron Judge gets on with a single, but 1 out. Cody Bellinger then rips his 7th double of the year. So Max Kranick, after looking solid, getting the final out in the inning ago, he's getting worked early here. And I have to emphasize the fact that Kranick was rushed in today's game, right? Because he was not supposed to come in this early. I don't think this early, no. That was tough. Maybe one other game. He's kind of the guy that we throw in all situations because he's usually solid. Just didn't have it today in his first full inning. Gives up the double to Bellinger. Then Paul Goldschmidt gets the offense going again, this time with a single that makes it 5-1 Yankees. 6-1 after Jason Dominguez has himself a force out. And then we would see Anthony Volpe ground out to end the inning, but not before the Yankees do more damage and are up by 5. As we continue on from there, Soto gets on with a walk. That's all she wrote. Alonso struck out in what was a frustrating at-bat. Bottom of the 5th, they go down in order, that being the Yankees. And then we get to the 6th inning. Jonathan Loaisiga makes his season debut, and Brandon Nimmo does rip a 1-out double off of him, his 9th of the season, but nothing else transpires. Jose Butto comes in for Max Kranick, who now has a 4 ERA on the season after allowing 2 earned runs across 2.1 innings. Hopefully, Kranick again fares better next time out there. Bottom of 6th, though, Jose Butto comes in and he works a 1-2-3 on Grisham, Judge, and Belly. On the top of the 7th, the Mets get their 2nd double of the day. This by Tyrone Taylor, his 5th of the year. But then Francisco Lindor strikes out swinging, and Soto grounds out. At the bottom of 7th, Jason Dominguez gets on, and then he steals his 4th bag of the year. Nothing else happens. In the bottom of the eighth, everybody, or pardon me, top of the eighth, we see Devin Williams come in, and Devin Williams strikes out Pete Alonso on 3 pitches or so. Fastball down the pipe, throws his ass. So definitely not the Devin Williams that we saw in Milwaukee there at the wild card game. Mark Vientos strikes out swinging, and Brandon Nimmo strikes out swinging. Since being shifted back out of the closer role now as a setup man, Devin Williams is looking nails yet again. Mets struck out the side there. And by say they struck out the side, no, they were struck out the side, which was horrendous.
Mr. Delay for you makes a good point.
Let's see. That was the turning point when bases were loaded and we got nothing. Oh, of course. Without question. I mean, the Mets are not getting anything with runners in scoring position, especially bases loaded. Sadly, that has been cheese and wine. It's been a perfect pairing.
At that point?
Yep. Yeah. And it could have been more. Yeah, exactly. Not taking advantage. And we could have absolutely pounced there. Yep, we're going to get to more of that in a second. Trent Grisham has himself a walk. Aaron Judge with a 2-out single. That's all she wrote in the bottom of the eighth. In the ninth, the Mets have themselves, let's see here. The bottom, what is this? Alvarez with a walk. Then we see McNeil with a walk. Lindor did have himself the RBI double. That made it 6-2 Mets. So that was the Mets' third extra base hit of the ball game. So not complaining about that. A nice double. A soft from the New York Yankees. And then Juan Soto, in a very fitting fashion for his return to the Bronx, is the flyout to end the ball game. And Trent Grisham, who's had a better season so far than Juan Soto, both former San Diego Padres, both a part of that trade just a year ago. And he's the final out with the final out. It's kind of insane. It really is. That's where the script gets a little
that is good.
uncomfortable almost. You know, it's like, I don't love that.
It honestly, what would have made the script even better is like Grisham hit like a walk-off home run.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah, I would have.
Clay Holmes.
He comes in as a reliever just for you. You know, thankfully, no. JV, thank you for the donation. He says,
what currency is that?
I actually forget. He's explained it before, but I've just forgotten. But he's been a long-time supporter, and I love him. JV says, McGill is like a working girl on 42nd Street. Oh no, we're not gonna read that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that, but I'm gonna leave it at that. We got to keep it a little PG at least. You guys are going off the walls here. I get it.
Is this a PG stream?
It is and it isn't, because here's the thing. It's a wide variety of people that watch me, and I have kids that come up to me when I go to Citi Field all the time. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that. I know that I'm gonna have times where I slip up and I act out of pocket at times, but I'm also trying not to go too overboard either. That's all. I'm just trying to find a happy medium sometimes.
What do you want to do, Wardy? Would you prefer it's not a PG stream? Me personally, I could never do it.
I know you couldn't do it, but like I don't mind it sometimes depending on the context of it.
Chat, what do you guys want? Do you guys want PG? Do you guys want PG-13? Do you want rated R? Or do you want X? Let me know.
Guys are crazy. Anyways, thank you for the donation, JV. And the Mets, what was the big story tonight yet again? It was the lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. Outside of, funny enough, both Lindor and Nimmo having their 27th RBIs of the season, both tied together there on the Mets. 2 for 11 were runners in scoring position, 9 left on base. Not ideal at all. You guys are sick. I know. The chat is just, of course they're going to say that. Even if you're a kid, you're going to say that. Watching right now. You really think you're going to go in here and be like, PG, please?
No, but maybe parents.
That's true.
And they clearly don't care.
Call it Wardy After Dark. We'll have to have designated segments like that. We'll have to do it sometimes. If you guys want Wardy After Dark, maybe that'll be part of our future member content.
Hey, if you do, I got to be on there, bro.
I know. It's
I'm just
Wardy After Dark.
Throwing it out there.
Guys, I got nothing else to add. This game sucked. This really sucked.
I will say, though,
this was not a fun game to watch. What?
The series is not.
No, far from it. I love the fact that it's a 3-game series. So that way, again, as long as you guys don't win tomorrow, we have a chance to, not only even things up, but get the series done Sunday.
Bro, I predicted from the start. I thought the Yankees were going to win today. I think the Mets are going to win tomorrow. And I think the Yankees win Sunday with Fried on the mound.
Well, I hope that last part doesn't happen. But I do definitely think that there's a great opportunity for the Mets to go out there and take it. What they need to do, however, is to go out and try to pounce early on a Clark Schmidt. That's Clark Schmidt. You know?
Yeah, I mean, bro, like, I wouldn't shit on Clark Schmidt, though.
I'm not shitting on Clark Schmidt, but Clark Schmidt is the weakest link in this headed monster of a rotation tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But I think Clark Schmidt is when the Yankees rotation will be at their full strength this year, and Luis Gil comes back. Clark Schmidt is one of the best number 4 pitchers in baseball.
I mean, I kind of can tell just because there's a lot of really good number 4s. I feel like
Who's the Mets number 4 right now?
Based on our current configuration,
McGill.
Trying to think. It actually might be McGill based on the config. I have to see how they're going about the rotation because we've been doing a 6-man this year, so it's kind of tough.
It's Filipino money.
Gotcha. JV says we Filipinos like R-rated. I respect the honesty. McGill is the absolute worst. I've seen kids here throw coconuts better than he pitches. See, that's more of a PG comment. I can get with that.
It's not bad.
Yeah, throwing a coconut at you. That'd kind of be funny. Imagine you turn around and a kid just chucked you like a coconut at you. You didn't even see it coming.
I'm okay.
You never had that happen to you?
No. I'm okay if it doesn't. I could go my whole life without that happening.
I think we need to see that happen at some point for you, Pat.
Okay. Thank you, though.
Okay. Well, on that front, I don't really think I have much else to add. Outside the fact that the pitching, as we alluded to earlier, and that was a wrong slide. That ignore code Isenga, that's from the other day when he pitched a masterclass. I just clicked on the wrong thing because I got a bunch of slides to show you guys.
122 pitches?
102, not 122, but he was nails at start. Here's what we got on the pitching end. So the Mets gave up a total of 6 earned runs in this one, and they walked a total of 7. So not a good day at the shop for the boys pitching-wise. And give credit where credit's due. I'll say it. The Yankees were the top offense in baseball entering this game. The Mets were the top pitching staff, and the Yankees offense prevailed. Regardless on how they did it, they still did it, and they have to deserve credit for what that is. I just hope the Mets naturally bounce back tomorrow, obviously, and show some more life with whatever the hell this was. Like, what are you guys looking at right now? Because what I'm looking at is this Mets lineup that simply did not have nearly enough production with runners in scoring position yet again. And I feel like I'm a broken record, yet I am a broken record, Pat, because they have been doing this consistently all season long. Even when the Mets have won like games 8-3, tight ball games, 6-4, let's say 7-0. Even then, they still are batting like tops 300 with runners in scoring position. Like, they have not fared well at all. And that has been their continued demise so far this season. So we have to hope it changes, because for Brandon Nimmo to be the only Mets batter tonight with at least 2 hits too, that's a problem. And question, do you like the fact that I'm looking this direction even though I'm not actually looking at it? But do you understand the reason as to why?
Nope.
Because I'm looking as if I'm looking in direction of the lineup that people that are watching the show can actually see.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like you're doing that.
It doesn't look like I'm talking in direction to it?
No. Not at all. I mean, yeah, but they can't see the front of your face. Like, it would be smarter if you did that. But the other way. Like, you would have to look up and look. Like, you would have to look where that thermostat is. Yeah.
Like here.
Yes.
That would be good.
Because that looks perfect. Like, you're a weatherman, essentially.
Perfect. So, today's forecast, everybody, 1 through 9, we have Francisco Lindor batting and leadoff.
Wouldn't it be better if you just looked into the camera? Like, straight into the camera?
No, it would be. I just do it for the effect.
Oh.
That's all it is. It's just stuff I do sometimes. That's all I was curious about.
I was a little uncomfortable.
I know.
Yeah.
I was feeling the tension.
Yeah.
That's okay. But, guys, you know what's also uncomfortable? The Mets losing Game 1 of the Subway Series. I'm not happy about it. Pat's happy about it. But I think it is a perfect time now to call it a quits on the night. Wardy's got a little bit of a hike back home, and we have such a quick damn turnaround tomorrow because why wouldn't we? So we will have New York Yankee, New York Metropolitan Subway Series Game 2 coverage for you guys tomorrow. Please make sure to check it out. Thank you guys again for watching. That is Patrick Hennessy. You guys can check Pat at where?
You can follow me on Instagram at True Hennessy, and Twitter and TikTok at Unhinged Patrick. And I guess you could subscribe to my YouTube, Unhinged Patrick. I don't really post on there, but sometimes I do. Also, let me just say, I love you guys. Thank you for welcoming me with arms tonight.
We love you too, Pat. Thank you guys again for watching. Appreciate the support. We'll see you all